Is this thing on? It is. All right, I'm DaRock. Welcome back to another video talking ball here on the channel. And we've been talking a lot of college football playoffs recently, with those rankings the bracket came out last week. But something we haven't been talking about as much recently, the NFL. And the playoffs are right around the corner for that. 4 weeks to go here in the NFL regular season. So I'm going to do a video here today talking about my picks for all these Week 15 games, as well as breaking down the playoff bracket as it stands here with 4 games to go. This video seemed to do pretty well last year. I don't know why I haven't really done it this year. Just guess I haven't really had the time. So make sure, comment down below if you guys are feeling the NFL vids. And while you're down there, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. All right, so let's start off the video here by looking at the playoff picture for both conferences so far. With 4 weeks to go, everyone has played 13 games now, so everyone's got the same amount of games played. So it's really, the scenarios are a lot more, cut and dry than they were before. So here in the AFC, we have Denver currently at the 1 seed at 11-2. However, New England 2 seed also 11-2. So both those teams, kind of looking to keep pace, don't want to drop any more games. And that's going to be a tough race. Granted, before the season, I definitely did not see those two teams. I mean, I thought the Broncos would be a playoff team, but to have them, kind of in this hunt for the 1 seed here and just squarely a playoff team, very impressive season for them. In third, the AFC South leaders at the moment, Jacksonville Jaguars 9-4 on the year, and then Pittsburgh at 7-6 wraps up the division winners after their win against Baltimore last week to give them a 1-game lead. Then looking at the wild cards, the Chargers now moved up to 5th. They're 9-4. And then the Buffalo Bills also have an identical record. Then as of right now, the final wild card spot, we go to the Houston Texans at 8-5. Them and the Colts, both 8-5, but the Texans beat the Colts a couple weeks ago, and the Colts are now going to be out without Daniel Jones the rest of the year. They signed Phillip Rivers to the practice squad this week, so it's going to be a really interesting couple of weeks here for the Colts. If I had to pick, I would say they're probably going to find themselves on the outside looking in, which really stinks after their hot start to start the year. Then teams still in the mix. The Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Dolphins are still all 6-7. The Ravens out of those teams definitely have the best chance. They still get the Steelers one more time. The other teams, the Chiefs, all these teams ahead of them, including, now they lost the Texans, have the head-to-head. I believe they still get both the Chargers and Broncos one more time, but they cannot win the division, so they'd have to sneak in as a wild card, pretty much go 4-0 down the stretch here. But the way the Chiefs have looked so far, I'm really not super confident in that. Miami at 6-7, they'd have to, upset the Steelers this week, I think, to even just have a chance, but it's probably over for them. The Bengals, honestly, at 4-9, probably have a better shot than the Chiefs and the Dolphins. The Bengals, like I said, same thing, would have to go undefeated and would need Pittsburgh to go 1-3 in their last 4. But they maybe could sneak in the playoffs with, they split with the Steelers and already have a win over the Ravens. Now going down to the NFC side of things, the Rams in first at 10-3. Excuse me. And then the Packers second 9-3-1. That tie for the Packers is going to make things really interesting. They could, they're going to have to essentially win more games. Or no, they could win the same amount of games as the Rams, but I don't know. Being a game behind now, I feel like that's going to be a tough task. The Eagles currently at 8-5. They're slumping as of late, but still leading the NFC East as of right now. And then the NFC South is kind of like the AFC North on the AFC side. The Bucs lead it at 7-6, and it's kind of crazy. College football fans will be like, "Oh, we can't have the Bucs in. The division's not good enough." But it's going to kind of come down to them. The Panthers are also 7-6. I believe those two teams still play 2 more times, or maybe, I'm not sure. I'll have to check the schedule there. Then going down to the wild cards, the Seahawks also 10-3. They lost their games to the Rams, but they still play the Rams one more time. So that will settle itself out. The Niners at 9-4, right there in the mix too. And then the Bears, who were the 1 seed last week, with that loss to Green Bay, dropped all the way to 7. So it's kind of crazy to see that, but that's just how close things are in the NFC right now. And then, the Lions are currently going to miss the playoffs. They're 8-5, and as of right now, they'd be on the outside looking in. Yeah, the Bucks and the Panthers still play 2 more times, so they haven't played yet at all. So wow, yeah, that division race is going to be interesting. Like I kind of just mentioned, that Panthers team, they're still in it. More just kind of on the win the NFC South side. They could, I guess, potentially get a wild card, but it's been pretty tough. And then the Cowboys, same thing. Still in it, but they'd probably have to win the NFC East, where because of that tie, like I mentioned, they would just have to finish the same amount of wins as the Eagles, which they're only 2 behind. So if they can somehow, get those wins, then they can maybe win the East. And then the Vikings, they're still not eliminated yet, but at 5-8, I just really don't see them winning, making the division. That they're just making the playoffs. They're in too tough of a division. So now let's move on here to my picks for Week 15. Like I mentioned, 4 weeks to go here in the season. I'm gonna try to do this, every week here on out. It was my better performing videos last year, and just I don't know why I just really haven't gotten around to doing it this year. So let's start Thursday Night Football. 7-6 Buccaneers. So I mentioned taking on the 4-9 Atlanta Falcons. Tampa Bay currently a 4.5 point favorite with an over/under set at 44.5. And this is one, while the Bucs have really been slumping late, they've not been playing great football. They're going to potentially get Mike Evans back in this one. He's, questionable as of Wednesday night here when I'm recording. And the Falcons just are very bad. They're not a good football team. This game's in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay already beat the Falcons this year. I see them doing it again. So give me the Bucs in this one. Then moving on to Sunday at noon on Fox, the 3-10 Cleveland Browns head to the 9-4 Chicago Bears. Chicago's currently a 7.5 point favorite in this one with the over/under set at 38.5. So the Bears, their streak finally ended. Like I said, they were the 1 seed for a week after that nice win against the Eagles. And beating up on probably a lot of more kind of lesser competition, but you just got to play who you play. And this is kind of one of those. This is going to be their last game where they're favored, I would say, for the rest of the year. I mean, with the Packers again next week and then the Niners and the Lions to end the year, the Bears have really tough games. This is one they got to win. The Browns, like I said, just not a very good team. They're going with Shadur here at quarterback for the rest of the way. But this game, especially too, just being in Chicago, I like the Bears to take this one. Then next, we have the 6-7 Baltimore Ravens heading to the 4-9 Cincinnati Bengals at noon on CBS. Baltimore is currently a 2.5 point favorite in this one with the over/under set at 52.5. So we saw this game a couple weeks ago on Thanksgiving. The Bengals, in Joe Burrow's first game back, pull off the upset over the Ravens. The Ravens just really have not been playing good ball. Like I said, did not look great against the Steelers last week. Like Lamar just really has not looked himself this year. He hasn't been able to run as much, and that's, you can kind of tell it's affecting him, making him being a pocket passer more is kind of the book on Lamar. And the Bengals just forced a ton of turnovers in that first meeting, and like I said, Ravens really just haven't been taking care of the ball this year, so if the Bengals could do that again, I could see them pulling it off, but I don't know. Like I said, I think it was a bit of like Joe Burrow was back. There's a lot of hype. They're maybe still in it here, but this is just one the Ravens can't lose. It's tough to beat the team twice. I know I did just pick the Bucs to beat the Falcons again, but I do just think the Ravens are the better team in this one. I think, when you play two teams close like that, they're going to be able to kind of fix some of those mistakes. At least I hope they can. So I'm going to go with Baltimore to take this one. Then next at noon on Fox, the 3-10 Arizona Cardinals head to the 8-5 Houston Texans. Houston currently a 9.5 point favorite in this one with the total set at 42.5. And Houston, like I said, one of the hotter teams in the NFL right now. They're playing some really good ball. I mean, there would be a team, if they get in the playoffs, they could cause some havoc. They had a nice win in Kansas City. Granted, like I said, the Chiefs really are not looking good at all right now. But to go on the road in Arrowhead on a Sunday night game, especially one like that where like both teams, I would say, really kind of needed that game. I just thought that was a pretty impressive performance from the Texans. And now, maybe there could be a letdown spot against this Cardinals team that's really bad, but I just don't see it happening. Like I said, the Cardinals, I want to say they've lost like 5 or 6 straight games. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL. Really just like, I can't say I watch them too closely because a lot of their games just are boring and they're blowouts. So I think Houston makes quick work of the Cardinals in this one. So give me the Texans. Then next, also at noon on CBS, we have the 3-10 New York Jets head to the 9-4 Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags currently 13.5 point favorites in this one with the total set at 41.5. I said the Jags looking good. Currently first in their division. Trevor Lawrence has been playing well. And I don't know, the Jets just aren't very good. Like I said, when you get to this point in the season, there's not, in all honesty, a whole lot to say about some of these bad teams. It's one of those things, like I said, the Jags are just a lot better team, and with how close, all these divisional races are, you just really can't afford to lose games like this. Can't drop it to inferior opponents. So I like the Jags to take this one. And moving on, another noon game. Those Chiefs that I just kind of mentioned haven't been looking great. They're 6-7 on the year. They host the 9-4 LA Chargers, also at noon on CBS here. Line for this one, Kansas City currently a 5.5-point favorite with a total at 41.5. So the Chargers already won the first meeting between these two teams in Brazil early on this season. And that was just a game, same thing, like the Chiefs, a lot of these issues that are still plaguing them, like a lot of drops, turning the ball over, just not good football. The Chargers, they sneak out a nice win against the Eagles on Monday Night Football, riding high. Were able to force a lot of turnovers in that one. Justin Herbert, he's is kind of dealing with some injuries, but able to get the job done for the Chargers. Like I said, if the Chiefs are going to make their push, it has to be now. And I probably shouldn't keep giving them the benefit of the doubt, just given how bad they've looked and how many times people keep just saying, oh, like, they're the Chiefs. They're going to get back in it. But this is the final one. This is my final time. I'm going with the Chiefs. They're the favorites in this one. Like I said, it's hard to beat a team 2 times, especially in Arrowhead. So I'm going with the Chiefs. But if they let me down again, like, they're just done. They're over. I'm not picking them anymore. Like a 6-8 record, just not acceptable from a Chiefs team of this caliber. Then next, we got the 9-4 Bills against the 11-2 Patriots. Also at noon on CBS. This one, Buffalo currently 1.5-point favorite with the total set 50.5. So New England won the first meeting on Sunday Night Football back in Buffalo. I want to say it was like week 6 or 7. I can't remember exact. And this is, t-shirt and hat game. The Patriots win this game, they win the division. They'd be up 3 games on the Bills with 3 games to go. And then would have the head-to-head over the Bills. So it's one of those. I mean, the Patriots are another team similar to the Bears. Like, they haven't like played the greatest schedule. And like, that's the funny thing I was really just kind of thinking about this week. Like, their 2 losses are to the Steelers and the Raiders of all teams. Like, just not very good teams. But they've already beat this Bills team once this year. The Bills, like I said, they struggled a little bit with Cincinnati last week. They had a nice comeback. Josh Allen made some nice plays to lead them, help them win the game. But I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the Patriots here. Like I said, they've just kind of, I feel like, shut a lot of the haters up. Like I said, it's been pretty easy to hate on them and say, like, oh, who have they really actually beat? But they keep beating teams. Drake May, hasn't thrown for 300 yards yet in a game, but has looked good enough, led them to wins. So I'm actually going to go with the Patriots here, and I think that, then gives them that division championship in the AFC East. So give me New England to beat Buffalo for second time this year. Then moving on, we got the 3-10 Commanders at the 2-11 Giants. Giants currently 2.5-point favorites in this one with a total at 47.5. The Commanders got shut out by the Vikings last week. The Commanders are just very bad. It's kind of crazy how much of a cliff they've fallen off of. And I mean, like I said, I kind of thought they overachieved last year. I thought like they'd still be a playoff team this year, but obviously a lot of injuries have kind of affected that. But yeah, I just really haven't been very impressed with the Commanders at all. The Giants on bye last week, they've kind of been fun. They've been frisky at points this year. I mean, they got killed by the Patriots in their last game, but it's one of those, just like the game being in New York. I forget. I don't think these 2 teams have played already this year. I mean, but just 2 bad teams. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this one. So for that reason, or though they have played this year, it was back in week 1. The Commanders beat them 21-6, but that's a just completely different Commanders team. So I'm going to go with the Giants. I just think it's like they're the worst or the better of the 2 bad teams. So give me the Giants. Then next, final noon game. We have the 2-11 Raiders heading to the 8-5 Eagles. In this one, the Eagles are currently 11.5-point favorites with a total set at 38.5. And like I was kind of saying with the Chargers game, the Eagles just have not looked very good at all this year as of late. I guess not this year, but just as of late. Like, and this is one, I don't know, a couple years ago was very similar. Like, they got off to a really good start, and then down the stretch just kind of fell apart. And one of those losses was to a really bad Cardinals team. So we'll see. Do the Eagles, do that again? But I don't know. It's just the Raiders. Again, once a very bad team. I kind of almost feel bad for Pete Carroll at this point. He's probably like, why did I get back in coaching to coach this team? So I don't know. It's same thing. It's same thing like I was saying with the Chiefs. Like I'm giving them one more chance, but if they don't pass this test, then I'm out. Like if the Eagles lose this game, I might be betting on the Cowboys to win the NFC East because like this is just the Eagles are a far better team. They got to prove it this game. This is like not a game they can lose. They got to just kind of shove it down the Raiders' throats, just run all over them. And yeah, they should just be the better team. So give me the Eagles to take this one. Then next, moving on to the 325 games. This one on CBS. The 9-3-1 Green Bay Packers head to the 11-2 Denver Broncos. Green Bay, 2.5-point favorites in this one with the over-under set at 42.5. So the Packers, very nice win against the Bears in Lambeau last week. And then, a big game here before playing the Bears again next week at Soldier Field. So I don't know. Could this kind of be a letdown spot with them, playing their heated rival 2 out of 3 weeks, and then in the middle of it, got to go to Denver, where Denver, they're 11-2, and it seems like they do just kind of squeak out a lot of these victories. They find like the little things to win. If this game was in Lambeau, I 100% would be picking the Packers, but with it being in Denver, like the Broncos just play so much better at home, that mile-high air, it's definitely used to their advantage. So, like I said, the Packers are currently the favorites, but I don't know. Like I said, I just think with this like being kind of smushed in between the 2 Bears games, not that this game doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter as much as those games, I would say, just with like the division implications on the line. So for that reason, I think I'm going to go with the Broncos to take this one in the upset. So give me Denver over Green Bay in a close one. Next 325 game. The 8-5 Lions head to the 10-3 Rams. LA currently a 5.5-point favorite in this one with the total set at 55.5. So the Rams, I think in all honesty, when they play their best football, they are the best team in the NFL. Would probably be my pick to win the Super Bowl at this point in the year. The Lions, however, this is like I said, they're currently outside the playoff picture. Like this is a game they have to have. It's always a lot of fun when these two teams get together just because of the Jared Goff, Matt Stafford trade. And I don't know, man. I just, like I said, I want to pick the Lions. The Lions have like done pretty well against the Rams as of late. However, a lot of those games have been in Detroit. This one in LA. Granted, it's still a indoor stadium, so no problems for Jared Goff there. But I don't know. Like I said, I just think the Rams are the best team in the NFL right now. They had a slip-up spot against the Panthers a couple weeks ago, and they've just kind of had a couple of those throughout the year. And I just think like a game like this with the magnitude of the opponent, this is like too big of a game for them to have like a slip-up, letdown spot and kind of overlook the Lions. So for that reason, I like the Rams to take this one. So give me LA, and I'll probably take them to cover. Then next, 325 on Fox, we have the 7-6 Carolina Panthers heading to 3-10 New Orleans Saints. In this one, Carolina currently only a 2.5-point favorite with the total set at 40.5. Granted, the Saints did pull off an upset against the Bucs last week, and I believe also have beat Carolina already this year. So the Saints, while not a good team as you see the record, they're 3-10. Like they've been playing some scrappy games. Yeah, beat the Panthers in Carolina 17-7 a couple weeks ago. But the Panthers, like I said, that division is like right there for the taking for them. It's very close, very back and forth. This is just one they can't drop. I mean, like I said, Tyler Shuck's been a lot of fun to watch for the Saints, but the Panthers now, they've seen them before. It's not as much of a there's no tape on them, sneak up on a team like they kind of had a couple weeks ago when they played, and like some of these other teams the Saints have played recently. So the Panthers, they're rolling. Like I said, we're on bye last week, but nice win against the Rams 2 weeks before that. I don't think they dropped this one. I think they're going to be ready for it. So I got Carolina taking that over the Saints. Then next, we got the 2-11 Titans heading to the 9-4 49ers at 325 on Fox. San Francisco currently a 12.5-point favorite in this one with a total set at 44.5. Titans finally got back in the win column last week against the Browns. The Niners were on bye, I believe, if I'm correct. Yes. So I'm not a whole lot to say on this one. Niners are just a way better team. Like I said, they're also in that kind of playoff race. Could it maybe be a letdown spot with who do they got next week? I want to say the big game. Oh, the Colts, which that's not really as big of a game anymore just due to the Colts injuries. But I got the Niners. They're just the way better team. There's no shot the Titans go across the country and pull this one off. Then next, 325. A lot of 325 games this week. You love to see it. 8-5 Colts head to the 10-3 Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks currently 13.5-point favorites. This one with a total set at 42.5. If these two teams played a couple weeks ago, it would have been a very good game. I would have been really excited to see what these two teams had to offer. Like I said, they're both towards the top of their conferences, or at least they were. But now, like I said, all these just injuries from the Colts. They really have not been playing a good brand of football as of late. Really have struggled. The Seahawks, like I said, they're right there in that race for the NFC West for the 1 seed. This is a game they can't afford to lose. So for that reason, I just got the Seahawks. I think they're the better team. Sam Darnold's been playing really well, and that defense has looked really solid. Then on to Sunday Night Football. The 5-8 Minnesota Vikings head to the 6-1 Dallas Cowboys. Dallas currently a 5.5-point favorite in this one, with the total set at 47.5. Vikings finally got back in the win column. Nice game from J.J. McCarthy last week, granted against a pretty bad opponent in those Washington Commanders. The Cowboys lose to the Lions on Thursday Night Football, but that Lions team, good team. It's one I kind of saw that coming. Honestly, they gave them a game like that. Offense putting up as many points they did was very impressive. I mean, Pickens and CeeDee Lamb been very good this year, and I don't think they'll have a problem slinging it around against the Vikings. So I'm going with the Cowboys in this one. I feel like I've picked a lot of home teams. How many road teams I picked? I picked 2 road teams. Jeez, might have to switch up some of these picks. All right, and then to wrap it up, Monday Night Football, the 6-7 Miami Dolphins head to the 7-6 Pittsburgh Steelers. This one, Pittsburgh currently a 3-point favorite with a total at 42.5. Dolphins have been pretty hot as of late. I want to say they've won like 3 or 4 straight games, or like 4 or 5, something like that. Nice win last week against the Jets. The offense was clicking pretty well. The Steelers, that was just a very Steelers-esque game last week against the Ravens. Like, they just always do that against the Ravens. They force some turnovers. The offense in the first half actually looked pretty competent. Like, we got some vintage Aaron Rodgers moments last week, and if we get that again, the Steelers team could be a little dicey. Could be frisky, make some noise. So against a team here like the Dolphins, like I said, they've won 4 straight games. They wins against the Bills, so not all against horrible teams, but they've been playing some good football. But I think that just kind of ends here. Plus, Tua in cold weather. I believe it's going to be cold in Pittsburgh on Monday night. I just think that's too tough an environment for him. So for that reason, give me the Steelers. However, they've been inconsistent, but I'm hoping they can put together 2 good performances in a row. That's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to comment down below your winners for these games. If you guys, drop some correct picks, I'll shout you out on the next episode. Like I said, if you want to hop on and make some NFL picks, I'm more than welcome to have that as well. While you're down there, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to check out all my social media platforms. Dropping a lot of takes on there on all these games. Like I said, I'm trying to be more active, cover all these different sports. It's a great time of year for ball. So like I said, definitely comment. Let me know what kind of videos you guys like. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.